I'm Dane. I live in Alexander Campbell, and I live in Wabona, Manitoba, and this is my garden.
Well, the Mel Johnson School Gardening Project started 4 years ago.
I'm in grade 7, and the first time I started gardening was in grade 4 with Miss Woodowitz.
Hi, my name is Eleanor Woodowitz. I'm a teacher at Mel Johnson School. I started a gardening project 4 years ago at the school, and this is my garden.
My grandmother had a farm, and my dad also had a farm. From the time we were small, I can remember having to go out into the garden with my mother, and we had to plant the seeds, my sister and I, do all the planting, and then it was weeding time. We were brought out to do all the weeding and harvesting, and we had to help with the preserving. And so it's been with me since I was born, I guess.
In here I have some herbs, some parsley and catnip, and this is all mint, chocolate mint back there.
First year, we tried carrots, peas, cucumber, and a couple other stuff. Then we ended up just having lots of fun.
What's that?
Those are peppers.
What kind?
I'm not even sure. They kind of look like jalapeno, but they also look like mini bells.
Could I try one?
You want to try one?
I wanted to share my knowledge of gardening with the kids because I realized that they didn't know a whole lot about growing vegetables, or they didn't know anything about how they grew or what they looked like when they grew, because they were used to just having stuff come from the store. And a lot of vegetables they hadn't even really eaten or seen, like they were used to maybe potatoes and carrots and corn. So I just felt I should share my knowledge of that with them and create learning experiences for them.
And what it is it's taking the science curriculum and anything related to plants was brought together as a tool for teachers to use in their classrooms. Mel Johnson School has taken it further than the classroom and have the kids doing the gardening outside the classroom in their own yards within the community.
My name is Kristen Monias. I'm 13 years old. I'm in grade 7. I've been gardening for 4 years, and this is my garden.
With the kids, I try to go around once a week or once every couple of weeks to check on their gardens. And I think by doing that, it shows them that there is an adult that cares about what they're doing, and an adult present, I think, is very important.
You didn't have any trouble with dogs yet? No?
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
In today's society, people are so busy that they don't always spend a lot of time with the kids.
I have to pay a little good thank you to Miss Woodowitz for getting me into this stuff.
And the seaweed fertilizer. And your plants are in the back seat.
Gardening like this is education. Kids are doing it because they want to do it. They are involved and they're seeing the hard work and they're participating in the hard work, and they're being acknowledged for their successes.
You're putting your seeds back in here. Okay, we're going to start some seeds today. We're going to start some celery seeds because celery is something that we haven't tried before. So this year we're going to try celery.
I think it's important that people learn and at least know how to grow their own food, whether they choose to or not. It's different, but that art of knowing how to grow food has kind of been lost. And I mean, if we want to keep moving on, it's an important part of life, and we need to learn how to do it. Kind of like, you know, if you give the kids vegetables, they'll eat for a day or so, but if you teach them to grow their garden, they can eat vegetables for the rest of their life. And the kids really love to eat the things that they grow. They're really willing to try something. Like if you pick their broccoli, do you like broccoli? Well, I don't know, but they're willing to try it because they've grown it themselves.
Tastes like cucumber.
I think gardening builds great character, like the responsibility, the dedication, persistence, perseverance. All these things are part of gardening. It just sort of builds community, it builds family life, and it's just something that's important to society to bring back. Okay, when you plant onions, the onion bulb has a root end, and you can see the tiny little root hairs there. That must go down into the dirt, and this is the stem end, and it goes up. Okay, perfect. One of our gardeners that's been a garden forever, ever since she's been in Woboden, and she's had trouble with the kids bothering her garden. And just about every year they go in and pull carrots or do some damage to her garden. And she said this is the first year that the kids haven't damaged her garden. So perhaps we're getting to enough kids that they realize that a garden is special and they're not bothering her garden. We don't use herbicides or pesticides on the plants. In the greenhouse we had a problem with aphids, so we brought in some ladybugs, and it seemed to help a bit.
Hi, I'm Brunel. I'm 10 years old. This is my second year gardening, and I go to Mel Johnson School, and this is my garden.
These kids that are involved in gardening need to know these skills as adults, and yet they're picking them up and they're retaining the information as 10-year-olds, 10 to 12-year-old kids, and they have that interest. I think it's very important that as educators that we give them all the ample opportunities to continue a program like this.
When I go around, they come running out, "Teacher, teacher, look at my broccoli, it's starting to grow," and just the excitement. And wherever they saw me, they would stop me and say, you know, this is in my garden, or, you know, the peas are growing, or they're always excited when they saw something growing and producing the fruit.
Not crazy about tomatoes?
Juicy.
It's juicy.
And I think in our school, there's a lot of caring that goes on for the kids. And I think the kids recognize that caring about them and caring enough to do things with them. And sometimes you think they don't appreciate it, but I think they do. At the end of our gardening season, we have a harvest display and a harvest feast, and we get the students to bring in all their vegetables and put them on display. Then all the gardeners sit down and have a lunch together. And this year we decided to do some preserving, so we canned some tomatoes, we made some dill pickles, we made some salsa. I think just by having the display and the sitting down together and eating together, just creates a community or a family environment, just a real togetherness. And I think it's a place for them to be proud. I see the pride in their faces when they're bringing their things in, and they're so excited, and to make sure that you see them and make sure that their thing gets put on display. And they were really good at bringing the things in, and I think that's really important for them to put them on display and to be able to feel that pride and build a pride in themselves, because I think a lot of people have lost that pride. Too many things are given and they don't work for it, where these students have worked all summer with their gardens, and this is the rewards of their hard work in the summer. And it's just a place to show them off and let them be proud for a day.
It feels pretty good because especially when you're having supper and you know that you've grown it and your mom or your dad wants to cook it and they put it in a big soup or something, and you know that you're eating it and you grew it all by yourself, it actually feels really, really good. to know that you actually grew up like all by yourself, standing there and looking at it, and from a little seed to a big thing now. Yeah.
Father, we thank you for this time that we can celebrate together the harvest, the vegetables that were produced this year, and we thank you for the children that have been a big part of this. Just thank you for this time together and this enjoyment of eating the food that's been planted this year.